Yeah, very simply, thank you, Madam Chair. This bill is to codify what is passed in the budget, and that is simply merging the State Medical Education Board into the Georgia Board of Physician Workforce. And in the process, that will eliminate one 15-member board. And on the projections from the Office of Planning and Budget, that will save about $250,000 a year. The composition of the Physician Workforce Board, which will be the surviving entity, does recognize the role of attracting physicians to rural areas of Georgia, and 2 of the physician positions on that workforce board will have to be rural physicians. I appreciate your consideration.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just have one question, and I think we may have gone over this previously, but this is a completely separate board, and it is not an advisory board. It is a true standalone board. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thanks.
Madam Chair, Representative Huckabee, will the Physician Workforce Board stay in existence as it is presently?
Well, with the change in 2 of the physician requirements, 2 will have to be rural physicians now, but that board will stay intact. And I think in Section 6 of the bill describes the composition of that board.
Thank you.
Can y'all hear? Okay, you can hear me. Actually, I'm a physician, and I'm a former State Medical Education Board recipient and practiced in rural Georgia in a rural community for 12 years and have enjoyed it tremendously. I had a brief statement, and first of all, thank you for allowing me to speak with you today. There's only one aspect of this bill that I'm really against, but I think you'll see that as I read my statement, and there's a copy of it that each of you should receive. The State Medical Education Board has been in existence for more than 50 years, and during this time, over 1,600 physicians have participated in the scholarship program. The State Medical Education Board provides essential services to becoming a conduit, by becoming a conduit for filling critical physician vacancy needs in numerous rural communities throughout Georgia. The types of physicians who qualify for the scholarship are primary care physicians. Now, primary care physician specialties include family medicine, internal medicine, pediatrics, general surgery, and OBGYN. The rural communities benefiting from the State Medical Education Board scholarship program have been either towns with a population of 15,000 or communities with a population of 35,000, counties, I mean, with a population of 35,000 or less. The retention rate of these physicians in their respective underserved communities improved from about 49% in the 60s to 79% currently. And now, the increased retention rate is directly attributable to 2 changes in the State Medical Education Board program. These changes include the initiation of the medical fair for rural communities in the early 1980s, followed approximately 10 years later by a triple indemnity clause being added to the scholarship program, where the recipient will pay triple damages if he didn't serve his time in service, kind of an incentive. The medical fair established and run by the State Medical Education Board provides an opportunity for qualifying communities to recruit not only our scholarship recipients, but other physicians who have no scholarship requirements but are interested in practicing in small communities. Unless the budget cut for the fair is restored, the State Medical Education Board will be unable to fund the medical fair in this or future years. Each year, 60 to 80 physicians and 30 to 40 communities attend this fair. In this day of substantially narrowed and narrowing profit margins for rural hospitals, it is essential for these rural facilities to have affordable, efficient, and effective recruitment processes in place to help meet the physician needs. This is further emphasized by the fact that the cost rural hospitals spend to recruit physicians to be $25,000 to $35,000 each physician, and through us, obviously, they don't have those expenses. The experience and expertise in selecting students are likely to stay in small communities is a skill that is acquired only after several years of interviewing candidates and living the experience in a small community where the current board members live. The Physician Workforce Board would make decisions if the state medical board were abolished has only 3 of 10 physicians on the board who come from rural communities. In addition, eliminating the State Medical Education Board would only save the state the travel expenses, essentially travel expenses, and it'd be less than $5,000. Now, most physicians who go into practice today have $50,000 to $200,000, and some a lot more. And I've interviewed a lot of candidates who've had substantially greater amount of debt than that. So the State Medical Education Board administers a loan repayment program for physicians practicing in Georgia for counties of, like I said, 35,000 or less in population. Physicians for the repayment program are selected on the basis of a scoring system which identifies communities with the greatest need. These physicians are awarded approximately $20,000 a year for each year of service. Over the last 9 years, this is important, over the last 9 years, $3.4 million have been collected in default funds and returned to the state general fund. This is an average of nearly $400,000 per year or annually, which are returned to the state through the actions of the State Medical Education Board. If the base budget of the State Medical Education Board were increased by $400,000, an additional 20 scholarships and loan repayment awards could be issued and thereby serve a greater area of need. And currently, I'll just make a side note, there's probably about over a 10,000 physician shortage. Of that, I'd say conservatively 3,000 to 4,000 are primary care physician shortage throughout the state of Georgia now. And obviously you understand the significance of what I'm talking about. With the primary care physician shortages and looming threat of ever-increasing deficit of primary care services, anything that can be done to stabilize or prevent this deficit is essential in preventing these shortages. Thank you for allowing me the time to briefly talk with you. These are issues that are very near and dear to my heart, but are practical, and I've seen it for quite a few years. I've been on the board for about 8 or 9 years now. Many of the board members have been on 25 years or longer, so they're committed to this, and this is essentially a volunteer service we're doing. It costs a lot of money to do this. I wouldn't do this if I didn't think it was important. I appreciate it again. Thank you.
I found his deposit thing a couple of years ago, and there were days where he took in $3 and $12 and $9. And he managed to last 2 years before he went to the Woodstock Kentner, which was pretty much as rural almost as where he had been before. So it really does help physicians. Tom had worked 4 jobs trying to pay for his medical school, taken a year off to teach to be able to finish reporting, so it really does help physicians get through. Are there questions for Dr. Hopkins? Any thoughts on that?
Thank you very much, and thank you for what you do. I have a couple of questions. The first is a sort of a two-part question. Your state board, state medical education board, of the physicians there, it looks like there was that 7. Are they all rural MDs, and are they all primary care physicians?
No, they're not all primary care, but they all are rural, as I understand it.
How many primary care physicians on there?
7. Oh, no.
So 6 out of the 7 there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. And the success rate of the last question, the success rate of the fair. I see how many come and how many communities, but have y'all been tracking how many physicians do you sign out of those fairs?
Well, I was signed out of that fair, and that was a long time ago. And I know of many other physicians who have signed. I don't have that number, but I know that there's a lot who do sign there.
At the appropriate time, I'd like to offer an amendment.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I was Rusty back when they created this fair back with the Medical Association back then. Would either you or the author of the bill explain to me the difference in what you say that the cost is going to be $5,000 and versus what Mr. Huckabee says the cost savings will be $250,000?
My understanding is the majority of those cost savings will be related to co-location of the two boards. Then that's fine. I have no problem with that. Elimination of the State Medical Education Board is my big problem. It only saves the county, the state, more or less than $5,000. So it's inconsequential, essentially. The elimination of the State Medical Education Board is the big problem I have with the bill.
Mr. Huckabee, is that what you understand the difference? You say it's going to be $250,000 a year savings?
I would have to defer to the gentleman who wants to explain the budget. I don't do that work anymore. So these are figures that were represented not only in the bill but also in the budget recommendation that the House passed Friday.
Oh, thank you.
Hello, I'm David Tanner with the Governor's Office of Planning and Budget. The savings from the board per diem is $5,000. The other savings that we have identified is the budget cut that this board is taking as part of the overall budget plan, and savings from co-location with the Medical Composite Board. So the efficiencies of having one board overlooking all activities for workforce planning and using that board to implement those plans as well. We think there's efficiencies, not only savings of $5,000, but really having one entity that's overlooking our physician planning and implementation activities.
You said the composite medical board. It's not the composite medical board, it's the Georgia Board of Physician.
The Physician Workforce Board would be co-locating with the composite board as part of this budget plan.
They're just co-located.
Correct, and sharing some staff. Two different boards, co-located staff working together on all aspects.
The size of the Physician Workforce Board and the makeup of that, primary care versus rural, or both. Do you have that answer? Do we know?
I'd have to ask the department executive director to answer your question.
Sure.
Sherry Tucker.
I'm Sherry Tucker. I'm the executive director of both the State Medical Education Board and the Physician Workforce Board. The Physician Workforce Board is made up of 15 members, 5 primary care physicians, 5 non-primary care physicians, 3 hospital representatives, 1 which must be rural hospital, business, and a consumer member. Of the current board, the 5 primary care members, 3 of those are from rural areas.
Question: did you meet with the governor about the bill?
We have had discussions about it, yes.
With him personally?
Not with him personally, but with his staff.
Okay. What staff members did you have a meeting with?
The Office of Planning and Budget, Blake
Fullenwider,
and Dan Goebel. Dan Goebel.
Okay.
This budget item was presented to Governor Deal as part of his budget considerations in December, and he asked the Office of Planning and Budget to look for areas for agency consolidation and reduction in the size of state government.
Okay.
This is one of the items that was brought to him.
Okay. Dr. Hopkins, did you meet with Governor Dill on this matter? You did not? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think we're all in agreement, at least I hope we are, that there's some concerns in regards to if the mission isn't increasing the number of physicians practicing in underserved rural Georgia, then it's my hope that the committee will agree to some friendly amendments that can help ensure that. At this time, I'd like to offer on line 321, where the sentence is 5 members shall be a primary care physician, comma, at least 3 of whom shall be from rural areas. On line 323, 5 members shall be physicians who are not primary care physicians, at least 3 of whom shall be from rural areas. And on line 325, with at least one of those, with at least 2 of those members, striking the word 1 and adding 2 of the 3 members being a representative of rural nonprofit hospital. As I do my math, Madam Chair, with a total of 15, that would be 8 from rural areas, 7 from the rest of the state.
I guess all of us are going to have to fight hard for our position on that. I'm just teasing you.
I thought that's the perfect place to start the discussion.
Okay. Do we need to do it again? Do I need to have Representative Reinders go over that again? Okay, Representative Hill.
I'll second his motion with the amendment, but also if I have a general question, if I may, Madam Chairman. Currently, I assume that the Medical Education Board is not located at the same place the medical board is. And now we're going to create the physician workforce to be co-housed at the same place the medical board is. What's wrong with the existing Medical Education Board being co-housed with the medical board?
There's nothing wrong with that, but one of the primary goals here, one, is to cut down on the number of boards, and we're going to see that effort, I think, throughout the Deal administration. But 2, I think it's important that when you look at the purpose of the Physician Workforce Board, that is a broader purpose, trying to attract physicians, people there's physicians in general, and providing assistance to them and hospitals. So I think the decision was, and I agree with it, that the surviving entity ought to be one with a broader umbrella, and that would be the Physician Workforce Board.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Other discussion, have an amendment on the floor for the Physician Committee. Do I hear a motion?
First and a second.
We have a motion second, sorry, just didn't hear it. We have a motion second. Everyone, and do we need the amendment again? Is everybody okay with it? All right, everyone in favor of the Reiner's amendment, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, no. Okay, the ayes have it, the amendment passes. Now back to the bill. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on the bill? Okay.
Madam Chair, a question on line 325 and 326. And are all teaching hospitals not-for-profits? And not a private hospital? I don't know. Dr. Hopkins, do you know? There are?
All teaching hospitals are not for profit. The example, Memorial Hospital in Savannah is the overall umbrella is a not for profit, but the down and the dirty portion is for profit.
It does. Thank you.
Madam Chair, at the appropriate time, I'd like to make a motion to pass as amended.
I think we already have that.
All right. I'll second it then.
Okay, well,
I got that too.
I think we already have that. If there's no further discussion,